Thank you so much for joining Friday Briefing. How are you? How has your week been?
Fine, thanks, Jesse. And my week has been, in fact, I would say fabulous. It has been a great week for me. All those that I wanted to achieve or to accomplish, in fact, I did exactly that. But one thing that has really impressed me, it's just getting bigger and bigger, stronger and stronger. In fact, with that bang, that is when you are on set with Ashley.
Well, thank you, Willis. Those are very kind sentiments, and we'll take them right here to the heart. Well, let's take a look at the word on the street before we get down to business.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisites. Prerequisites. Prerequisites.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Well, Willis, we have had them all. Prerequisite, prerequisite. I don't know how to say this, but this word is used to describe a thing required as a prior condition for something. How exactly do you pronounce this word, Willis?
Jesse, the first person who tried to pronounce that word, in fact, made my night. I would use that for reasons known to me. You see, what he said was close to an English word, but sometimes, it happens because not everybody uses English, in daily activities, that is in their lives. But this is a tricky word, Jesse. You say prerequisite, prerequisite. You can talk about a prerequisite for employment. But remember, we also say requisite or perquisite. So the confusing part is S-I-T-E. In its ending, you don't say site, you say zit. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Well, thank you, Willis. We now know. Let's move over to the next word. It's used to describe a person killed or injured in a war or accident. The word is casualty. Is it casualty, casualty? How do you pronounce this?
Jesse, what we should avoid is casualty. Casualty. That is far from the pronunciation of that word, but many people use it because that is what lands on their ears regularly, especially locally. But we say casualty, exactly the way you pronounced that word, casualty.
Well, thank you, Willis. I'm sure we now know how to pronounce it. The next one is a little bit tricky. I don't know if I'll get it correctly. It's a word used to describe a published false statement that might be used as a synonym for defamatory or derogatory statement. It's libelous. Is it libelous? How do you pronounce this?
You say lie. Libelous. But remember, you can also say libelous, but libelous is rarely used. You say libelous. It's from the word libel. Libel. And for libel, we should avoid saying libel. Libel, nowhere in English pronunciation. You say libel. And then libelous or libelous if you choose to use the weak sound O.
Okay, now it doesn't get easier. The next word, ochlocracy. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly. You can perhaps tell us the meaning to this word as you also inform us about how we should exactly pronounce it.
Or Jesse, ochlocracy. That is a word that means the rule or a rule by the mob. It's also called mobocracy. So you say ochlocracy, ochlocracy. That digraph, C and H, combine to form the sound K. So you say ochlocracy.
Ochlocracy, okay.
Yes.
Debtors, debtors. How do you pronounce a person or a country that owes money? Is it debtors, debtors? Is the B silent?
Well, Jesse, you can agree with me that many people, when they talk about people, countries, or organizations that owe money, they find themselves saying debtors, debtors. But that letter B is silent. A silent letter is a letter that is not pronounced when you are saying a word. So in this case, you say debtors, debtors. We also say debtor. For the singular, it's debtor. But for what we are talking about, the noun is debt, debt, not debt. You say debt, debtor, and then the plural is debtors.
Debt, debtor, debtors. Okay, we got that. It doesn't get easier now, Willis. Paralysis of all four limbs. How do you pronounce this word? Quadriplegia, quadriplegia. How do you pronounce this, Willis?
Now, in the first place, letter A takes the sound O, quad, quad. Then you say quadriplegia, quadriplegia. A tricky one, Jesse, quadriplegia. But remember, the person who is suffering from this condition or this problem, you call that person quadriplegic, quadriplegic. So what people should avoid is saying quadriplegia or quadriplegic. You say quadriplegia, that is the paralysis, but the person suffering from that, you say he or she is a quadriplegic.
Quadriplegic, okay. This one is a little bit lighter on the tongue, accustomed. Do you say accustomed, accustomed? How do you pronounce this, Willis?
Exactly the way you've said it, Jesse. You say accustomed. You can say to be accustomed to something or to be accustomed to doing something. That is, to be familiar with something and accepting it as normal or usual.
Okay, well said, Willis. Let's move over to the next word, libertarian. Is it libertarian, libertarian? A person who believes in free will. How do you pronounce this, Willis?
The only part that you didn't get correctly, Jesse, is Tarian, not Tarian. Tarian.
Tarian.
You say libertarian. That is a person who strongly believes that people should have freedom to do and think as they wish or as they like. So you say so-and-so is a libertarian.
Libertarian, libertarian rather.
Tarian, yes.
Libertarian.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Willis. Is it buffalo, buffalo? How exactly do you say this, especially for the reggae fans, Buffalo Soldier?
Jesse, I just love the way you brought that part. That is for the reggae fans when we talk about Buffalo Soldier, something close to that.
Exactly.
But remember, the correct or the right pronunciation of that word is buffalo. Buffalo. That letter U takes what we call the mid-central sound buffalo. Just like you say bungalow, not bungalow. Bungalow, buffalo.
Buffalo. Okay, I'm sure we're well informed, especially as reggae fans. Over to the next word, entourage, entourage, entourage. How do you mention a group of people attending or surrounding an important person?
Jesse, you reminded me about something. About 2-3 years ago, I met somebody, and the person told me, yes, I saw the president and his entourage. And I said, oh God. But you see, as I always say, nobody knows everything. Not even Willis can be perfect in this world. Only God is perfect. But matters, language are also very tricky, and we must, accept that. Now, this word, you say entourage, entourage. The president and his entourage. That is a group of people who travel with an important person like the president. The pronunciation is entourage, entourage. And I think, Jesse, now, if you don't have anything more, I would go straight now to the collections that we have for the week as feedback. Is that okay?
Definitely, it's fine. It's fine.
Now, Martha Nanjala of Bungoma, you say recipe. Don't say recipe or recipe. Recipe. Martha Nanjala of Bungoma. Dennis Odwor Ochieng and Victor Ademba of Darajambili, you say pronunciation. Pronunciation. We have the verb pronounce, but don't say pronunciation. Very common locally, but inaccurate. Pronounce, that is the verb, but the noun form is pronunciation. Peter Njoroge, you say papyrus. Ahmed Guhad of Garissa, you say panacea. Madam Florence Tabman of Onitsha Secondary School, oh, thank you very much for watching, and keep it just like that, because you know once you watch KTN at a time like this, you get the pronunciations right. So Madam Florence Tabman, keep it up. Stephen Ogore, you say marijuana. Marijuana, not marijuana. What you see is marijuana, but you say marijuana. You may even say marijuana. Patricia Mwende of Kitui, you say bruise. Bruise. A bruising battle. Don't say bruise. And don't say bruising battle. It's a bruising battle. Bruise. Then Jacob Otiende, aka Zuma of Ojola Kisumu, that planet, you say Venus. Venus, not Venus. What we see is V-E-N-U-S. That is the spelling. But letter E takes the long sound E. Venus. Maro Soja of Kondele and Harrison Mwiti, controller 999. You say brow. Brow. Linda Cherono Ngeno of Eldoret, you say fugitive. Fugitive. And you also say pugilist. Pugilist, not pugilist, when you're talking about a boxer. Pugilist, not pugilist. Fugitive, not fugitive. Stephen Omondi and Lillian Ochieng, as well as Michael Opere of St. Dominic Buckner Secondary School, you say purple and chitin or chitin. You can say chitin or chitin. Remember, you can also say chitin. Then we have finally Eddie Mwangi of Nairobi. You say prejudice. Prejudice, not prejudice. And we now go straight to the surprise word for tonight. And Jesse as well as Ashley, with your wonderful work, I want you to join me. Don't say this word loudly, but I talk about you, Jesse, as well as Sister Ashley, as I also ask those who are at home watching KTN News to first try. I'm giving them only 2 seconds. Can you try to say this word at home? Maybe you're in the living room and you're watching KTN News. Can you say or pronounce this word wherever you are, dear viewers? Well, I'm sure Jesse and Ashley, as tough as they are, they must have got it right, even though they have not spoken loudly or pronounced it loudly, but you never know. Also, at home, I'm sure there are those people who have said luxury, luxury, and that is not the pronunciation of this word. You say luxury, luxury. You can also say luxury, but don't say luxury or luxury. Luxury and luxury, just avoid those pronunciations. This word is pronounced as luxury, luxury. But remember, you say luxuriant, or you can also say luxuriant, but we also have luxurious, luxurious. That is when we talk about changing the form of a word for grammatical function, technically called inflection. Now, we come to the confusing words. The upper word, when we talk about an area of grass, we say sward, sward, and that is in literary language. Sward, an area of grass, that is S-W-A-R-D, sword, sword. But the weapon, that weapon that we commonly call sword, it is wrong for us to say it so. Avoid saying sword when we are talking about that weapon. That weapon is pronounced as a sword. Sword. W is not pronounced in that word for a weapon. You say sword for S-W-O-R-D, but sword for an area of grass. Now, remember, we also say answer, not answer. In that word also, letter W is silent, just like letter W in S-W-O-R-D. You say sword, sword. I know it may be a surprise to many people watching KTN News. Finally, we have the phonetic symbols, or what we call the sound symbols, which we have been giving you a chance to learn from KTN News. This one is sound E, but it's different from sound A, which is a diphthong. A diphthong is a dual glide. That is a glide that combines two vowel sounds, sound E and sound A. Get out. But remember, can you open the gate? So here we have the sounding A, but here we have what we call the pure vowel sound E. Get, gate. Let, late. Let, late. Get, gate. So when you see these symbols in a good dictionary, you should always know this is the pure sound E. This one, A. And you only catch that on KTN News. Otherwise, up to that point, I would say bye from Kisumu.
Well, before Willis will let you go, we know you're the word master, but I want to introduce you to Frasha, the Genge master. You know, he has a question for you. Perhaps, Frasha, an opportunity is yours. Ask Willis, it's all yours.
Willis, I've been put to task here to ask you a question. How do you pronounce the word K-U-J-I-C-H-O-C-H-A?
Perhaps my cameraman can get me a pen. Let me just get a pen, please, and then I write it down.
K-U...
Get me a pen very fast. Get me a pen very fast.
C-H-O-C-H-A.
Just a second. Let me write the word down.
Okay.
So can you spell it?
K.
Yes.
U.
Yes.
G.
G or J?
J.
J.
I.
I.
C.
C.
H.
H.
O.
O.
C.
C.
H.
H.
A.
A.
Yeah.
Now, to begin with, my dear brother, when you are spelling words,
yes,
we have letter H, not H.
I'm Kamba.
This word is not, take it easy, nobody's perfect, not even Willis.
Thank you.
But this word is not a basic English word. This is a word that is commonly got, you know, when we're talking about sheng and all that, locally, and if I get it wrong, or if I said it the wrong way, you'll forgive me. But I believe it's kujichocha.
Kujichocha.
You got it, Willis. You really did. And we have to wrap it up right there because of time constraints. But thank you so much, Willis, coming to us live from Kisumu. Definitely, we don't jichocha here. We tell you the real thing, as Frasha has just found out right now. So, as you know, Kujichocha is one of the latest songs by P Unit. Perhaps one you should actually get to listen to it, which is very good, Mazin. That was a good one.
Yes. Oh, Frasha, when you
Willis is good.
Willis is good. No, it's not H, it's H.
It's H.
Oh, my.
All right. That's where we come to a close here on Friday Briefing. Many thanks for staying with us. Many thanks for Eric Way and Frasha, of course. I am Ashley Mazuri. Our sign language interpreter is Gideon Bogo.
And I'm Jesse Rogers. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your weekend.
We leave you with Kujichocha.
Yeah. Majina noma tu kwenye IG, hazifanani tu kwenye ID. Wanajifanyaga tu ma VIP na mtaani ni ma IDP. Wanachocha sana kwenye Insta, Snapchat ama Twitter. Daily wako club wakata maji na keja yake ilikatwa maji. Wakipanda ndege tu ni selfie. Wameshinda mpaka wale wasafi. Wanajipitu kama na daily morning kama wanajichocha wanajichocha new weka pesa kwenye banki kisha anacheka, utadhani navuta na niko maji, utadhani mimi ni tangi, macho nyekundu imegeuza garangi, unanijua ujinga mimi sitakangi, unanijua traki miwa na uamini kamea, utadhani